Hello everyone. I welcome you all to SUGNCR session for today. The topic for today's session is voice-based search with Sitecore GraphQL. And speaker for today's session is Surendra Kumar Sharma. So I'll hand over my this session to Surendra. To all our participants, if you have any queries, you can drop your questions on our chat window. We'll take this session at the end of the video. Surendra, you can start now.
Okay, thanks Nitish. Hello everyone. Welcome you all to today's SUG NCR session. Today we are going to cover session on voice-based search with Sitecore GraphQL. So a lot to know, a lot to discuss, but before we begin, let me introduce myself. Myself Surendra Kumar Sharma. I am technical architect in TA Digital. I'm working on Sitecore from last 5 years and deliver multiple Sitecore solutions. And yes, I'm Sitecore 9 certified as well. So let's start today's session. So agenda for today's session is we'll look around three things. One is the headless Sitecore or Sitecore headless or headless architecture. Second, GraphQL. Third, the speech technology. And then we will connect all these three technology together and we have a demo, and yes, we have the code walkthrough as well. So my idea for this session is that at least you should know how we can connect these and how we can implement it in a simple way, so that you can implement it in your respective projects. So let's start with the headless site core. So I just want to give you 1 minute just to spend some time on this picture. What exactly is this picture is for, and what are the different idea you can get it from this picture. So this picture is showing 10 heads with the sword and some ancient look it have. And this picture is for the Ravan, a very mythological character in our in Ramayana, where it says that he was the king of Sri Lanka, and uh, he have fight with Ram for the Sita, and in one of the war, Ram have just vanished his head, but he has a boon of Brahma, so he was not die. So let me give you the about the second screen. So there is no head here. So as you, if you compare or if you can imagine this image with the site core or with the headless CMS. So we have the one site core XP or experience platform, and within the experience platform there are different services or part it have. So one of them is the databases. So we have the core, master, web, and reporting. There are XP services it have, and the X Connect. But this is the only the backend part that Sitecore is providing. So a backend system cannot fulfill all the needs of the customers from its own. So it needs something. It needs some front end technology. Okay. So what are the different technology that we with the Sitecore we can use? So you can use any number of technology right now with the Sitecore. So you will manage your all the data centrally into the Sitecore as a content management system, and you can use Angular or React or Vue, or even the plain HTML pages with the JavaScripts. You can use the Sitecore as a backend, and you can communicate it via the different channels. So here within this picture, there are 10 heads which have the and each head have a different mastery in one subject. So when we say in one subject, it means in today's session for the Sitecore, it can have the one front end technology. So we are taking Sitecore as a backend and the different technology as a front end. So how this different front-end technology can communicate with the Sitecore? So for that, we have the different way. So one of the that way is the GraphQL. Okay. So, but before going to the GraphQL, we will see that uh,
Sorry,
we
there's
will
some
see that
problem
what
in
are
your
the data. So
voice.
how we can search that data from Angular to the Sitecore. So first, one of our based and free search provider, Lucene, it it was available till 8.2, and from 9, Lucene is not available for the outside world. Yes, within the Sitecore you can use to find the different items, but you cannot use it outside of the Sitecore. And yes, it was free. Second, from the Sitecore 9, we are getting the Solar, and it's free of cost. And if you want to implement the enterprise level of search implementation, then Solar is the way. One another interesting search provider is the Covio, which is the single search provider which have the AI capability, and both on-prem and cloud options are available with the Covio. But again, the downside is that it's very costly. And yes, I have just cleared its certification last month. Another is the Azure. Uh, it's again the part of Microsoft stack, and you can implement it in your different applications. But again, it's a paid service, and there are some limited index level fields, number of fields. There is a constraint for it. So that's the downside of Azure. And within this, a new one is the GraphQL that you can use for communicating when you are developing your application in different front end technologies. So these are the search provider that typically we are using with the Sitecore. So let's see what exactly is the GraphQL. So before going to the GraphQL, let me explain you the uh, what the querying technology or the term query related with. So we all have worked with the different database, as we are the Microsoft guys. So we are typically working with the SQL Server. So we are writing our select query to get the data from the table, and with that select query, you can also use the where condition and the different clauses. So this GraphQL is the querying language technique which is used by the API. When we say the query in the Sitecore terms, we have to query the content tree. So we can query the content tree, and we will get the data into the JSON format. People are saying that GraphQL is the has the word-based select statement. That's what they are decorating GraphQL. Apart from that, GraphQL is very front end driven. So when we say front end driven, we have the different technologies, and we can use for all those front end technology. GraphQL is developed, and from that you can use it within the web app or PWA or the mobile app. It's very efficient, as GraphQL returns only the requested data from a query. It's eliminating data over fetching, and it save the bandwidth. So it also improve the performance. It has some advanced features like query batch to reduce bandwidth. When you say query batch, you can think it as a stored procedure where you can write the n number of select statement, and you just need to fire the one single stored procedure, and all the select statement will be executed. It's strongly type and schema driven. It means it have built-in GUI for the schema introspection and the query, and it act as a query authoring tool. So I will give you a demo on that GUI part as well. It is self-documented and having API mocking capability. So that's why it's a strongly type. Uh, it's based on a graph. So GraphQL queries are based on the graph algorithm or the data structure, which incredibly expressive queries that would take many requests if done with the REST API. So you can use the REST API and execute the GraphQL queries. It have the amazing ecosystem. So it means GraphQL community is very large and very mature, and they have developed a number of useful tools that we can use in our day-to-day development. So that's what we saw about the GraphQL. Now let's see what exactly is the Sitecore GraphQL. So Sitecore have created a wrapper around the GraphQL, and they have implemented their own functionality and the requirement as per the content structure that the Sitecore have, and based on that they have provided the Sitecore GraphQL. So within this Sitecore GraphQL, we have to define endpoints, and these endpoints are act as a URL, which is used by the external application. So when you are firing query to the GraphQL, there is only single controller. So you will just specify your URL, and that's it. That single URL will be associated with a one controller, and that's the by default that is provided by the GraphQL. So you don't need to write any code for it. As I said, it allow the request batching. So it means you can write the multiple queries and send it as a single HTTP request, and you can get your result. So it will reduce the network traffic. So that's what we see about the GraphQL and the Sitecore GraphQL. Now let's see how you can use it into your Sitecore development or the front with the front end technology. So there are two approaches that you can use GraphQL. One is the integrated GraphQL, and another is the connected GraphQL. So these are the two types that GraphQL is providing within the Sitecore environment. So now let's see what exactly is the integrated GraphQL. So if you want to implement the GraphQL into it as an integrated way. So within the Sitecore content tree, you have the rendering. You have to create a one rendering, and it should be based on the uh, uh, JSON rendering template. So when you create the any item that is depend on the JSON rendering template, so one item is created, and you can and within that you will get one section that's called GraphQL. Within this GraphQL section, you have one field that's called component GraphQL query, and within this you can write your GraphQL query. Another approach that you can use it as a connected GraphQL. So it simply means that you have the endpoints, and you have to make the direct HTTP request. So when we said direct HTTP request to the endpoint, so there is a format of the endpoint. So it should include the domain name and the word Sitecore API, and few other word that you have to specify into your config file. The most important thing here is that you have to pass the its API key, otherwise it will not be validated. So you have to pass the API key and the query. What you want to fire. For example, I have this query, SUGNCR India, and within that I'm passing my API key and with the with this with a query. So when you click on this, uh, you will get something like this, and here you uh, it's a graph browser where you can execute and check your query. So let me give you the some information about this graph browser. So this is the graph browser, and it have the different sections. So the first is the query pane. So when you say query pane, you have to write your query here. And if you have some variables, some dynamic values that you can pass to this your query, you have to specify those variables value into this second pane. Once you have specified this query and its variable, you can fire it by pressing on this play button. When you click it, you will get your result into the JSON format into this result pane. And at the same time, uh, you will also get the documentation pane. So if you are writing some query or some method, so you will get its documentation at the right side. So there are four section it have, and this is the typical URL that you have to specify. Uh, the word before the query string, that UI, it means you are going to start the graph browser. If I remove this UI, and apart from that, if I keep all the URL as it is, then it means you are firing that query to the GraphQL. So this is the graph browser. Let me give you one demo on it as well. So right now, this is my graph browser, and it have the some buttons as well. So this is the query that I have write, and if you click here, so you will get your data into the JSON format. So you can minimize this different sections, as these are the parent item. If you don't have the proper indentation into your query, so you can just press this prettify, so it will automatically indent it according to the its formatting. So this is the one example that I have shown here just right now. So we have one search method that we are going to see. And within the search method, there are different fields and the parameters that it will take. So now let's try to see what are the different parameters that you need. So this is the typical formatting and the parameter of this search. So here you will get the different parameters that you have, and the meaning of this parameter is this one. So you have the different arguments. Let's start with the argument first. So it means it simply means that when you write the select statement into your SQL server, so if you want the top 10 items, then you just write that select top 10 star from employee table, something you will write it. So here as well, the first is the you are specifying the number, that okay, I want the top 10 Sitecore items. The after is something like you are if you are doing the pagination uh, into your grid for your web application, so you are specifying that okay, I want the items for the second page, and I want to show all the data from 11 to 20 records. So you are specifying this after as a paging. Root item is something like, let's suppose if you have the list of the countries and you want to search or you want to fire your query for all the countries. So you have one folder node that's called country, and within that you are specifying all the country item. So with this root item, you will fix your parent item. So it will, so your search query will fire on that root item as well as on those all the child item. So in our case, it's the country child item. Keyword, if you want to fire any free text search, you can specify here. Language, let's suppose if your website have the multilingual feature, and you have more than one language, then you can specify that particular language. So mostly we are working in the for the English language, but you can specify here the language in which you want to make the search request. The latest version, by default, it's true, and it's saying that if you have the multiple versions of an item, so to which version you are going to fire your query. Index, you can specify your index here. So uh, in my case, I have keep it as a master, but it will take whatever the default standard index it have, it will take it as a by default. So I have keep my search index right now at master, but in production we will keep it into a web. If you want to, if you want to search your query based on the AND operation. So let's suppose if you have one select statement into the SQL servers and you want to fire according to some conditions with some AND conditions. So you can specify one or more fields here. If you have some facets, like if you have some age group, or if you have some industries, or if you have uh, some some facets, so you can specify your facets here, and this query will be fired based on those facets that you have specified here. So all the typical search functionality that we require here inbuilt into a search method. So now let's move to the speech technology that we need to integrate here. There are a number of speech technology available by the different providers in today's era. So it can be from IBM or from the Google. But as we are the Microsoft guy, so we are using the Microsoft stack. So in my case, I am using here as Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services. So these cognitive services are providing the it's like the different senses. As a human body, we have the different senses by which we can see, we can taste, or we can make a sense. So by we have the different senses, and at the same way Microsoft is trying to develop the different AI based services which can provide this which can act as a the sensors for our different applications. So what are these different AI services that we can use to solve the business problem? One is the decision based. So it provide the services. They can they can do the efficient decision making re- decision making capabilities which you can implement it into your application. They can second is the vision. So if you have the different pictures and videos, or the some handwritten page, so you can scan it, and these services will help you to convert those images into the text, or you can analyze it by using its different features. So in recent one like Sitecore have used the Cortex to get the different tagging feature for its pictures and the item based on the AI services. The third is the speech, that you can use it to convert the speech to text or text to speech. Another one is the search one, which you can use to in Azure one. It will be search within the Bing environment, and you can find the web pages and images or the videos by using these services. Another or the last one is the language one. So if you have this, so whatever your user is speaking, or in what context they are trying to connect with your application, you can make a sense of it, and according to that you can process that request. So it's based on the natural language. So out of all these services, we have to use the speech services, And within these speech services, uh, there are number of capability that they have. So they can provide speech to text, text to speech, or the speech translation. uh, so for that you have to create a one Azure subscription, and for 30 days or for up to certain limit it's free, but then it's a paid one. So you can start it as a free. uh, if you want to implement these speech services into your application, so there are two way you can integrate it. Either you can use the speech device SDK, or you can use the REST API. So if you have the some mobile application or the Windows application, then in my way, speech devices SDK are the best way. If you are going to develop a web application, then REST API is the most efficient way to implement these speech services. So what are these different speech services can help to in our application development? So one is the speech to text. It means it will convert the spoken word, or if you have some audio, so you will send that audio to the Azure API services, and it will convert it into some text. So you can use this service for the voice command or for the conversion transcription. So for that kind of application, you can use these services. If you have some text and you want to convert it into some audio or into some speech, then you can use this second one. And when it convert into a speech, you can specify its speech level or the volume level. So you have so you will get a different number of properties, and according to that you can set it. The last one is the speech translation. So it will use the natural machine translation technology, and at real time you can convert uh, the words that is speaking in one language, and it will convert it into some another language. So let's suppose some two guys are communicating. One is the Japanese and one is the English, and they don't know their the they just know their individual language, not the different person language. So the English person don't know the Japanese, and Japanese don't know the English, but at the real time they can communicate it, and this speech translation service will translate their sentences into the different language, from Japanese to English or from English to Japanese. So they can communicate into a real time. Out of all these services, our area of interest is the speech to text. So this is the same technology that is used by the Cortona or our office products, which convert our words and take it as a voice command. Uh, and this is the same technology that even Google is using for their Android mobile. So you just say, "Okay, Google," and you can say, "Play music." So it will start to play the music. So these are the voice commands uh, that that can act or can help us to develop the better applications. As I said, either you can for converting speech to text, either you have the microphone, or you have the recorded audio, or you must have some stream, and you can send all these kind of input to this their API or to the SDK, and you will get your text. So now let's connect all these technology and try to develop a one application or one web page. So a typical flow for this demo application is that we have one web page where user will land it, and he will click on the speaker button, so that it will enable the speaker. If it's by default enabled by the browser, then this step will be skipped. Then user will speak some word or give the voice command, and we will take this voice command as an input, and we will send it to our Azure speech to text API. It will be processed by the Azure services, and we will get our result into the JSON format. So within this JSON format, we will take our text, the resultant text that we need, and we will send this resultant text into our GraphQL query for finding the all the items that are related with that text. When the GraphQL query is executed at the Sitecore side, we will get our data into the JSON format, uh, which we received by using the jQuery, and we will show the result into our web page. So this is the typical flow that we need to implement. So this is the sample application that we have developed. So we have some profiles here. So I have 6 profiles here, and all these are from the Sitecore world. And this application is developed by using the simple HTML, JavaScript, and the Sitecore GraphQL. And believe me, I have not write any single C# code to implement this application. So let me give you a demo related with this application. So this is the application, and this is the some this is the search area where we have to work, and uh, this is the icon where if we click it, and if I allow it and say some word, it will search the result. All. So for the all, I have implemented is a way that give me the result, whatever result I have in my Sitecore, instance. So right now I have the 6 profile. It return me all the profile as a output. Let's try to find some another word. So we have here uh, two speaker. Akshay is the organizer. So this is something data that I have taken it from the Sugon India 2019. So we have 4 speaker. Uh, these are the 2 speaker, and including me, we have the 2 speaker. Gaurav is from the sales, and Akshay is the organizer, and he is the partner as well. So now let's try to search something. So let's try to search the word technical. So we have the word technical here. Technical. So it find technical word into 4 profile. So Anastasia is technical front end, and Peter is the senior director technical marketing, and I am the technical architect. Let's try to find all the speakers that we have. Speaker. So we have 4 speakers that right now in my database have. Mm, let's try to find the word search. So in my profile, there is a word search. Search. So it's giving me the one result. Let's try to find guys from the sales category. Sales. So Gaurav is here. Let's try to find partner. So Akshay is here. Now let's try to find the word which are not available into our application. Happy. Do you see? No result is found. Okay. Let me also show you how exactly currently it's sending its request. So we have the network tab here, and let me make a search again. All. So we get all the records, and if you see, this is the GraphQL query that we are firing, and along with the help of API. So this API API request will go into the Sitecore side. So this is the header. This is the URL of our Sitecore, and in the response, I am getting my all the data into the JSON format. So this is the same data that I have shown you here. So let's suppose if I find it here, a word sales, and if I fire it, so I will get one item for the Gaurav. So it's the same result that we are getting here. So this is very handy tool that while the development we are using it to check what kind of data and what are the different fields we are getting. So this is the demo that I want to show here. Now let me give you the code walkthrough. So it's very simple. So code walkthrough for this, I have this single one HTML page, and within this I have implemented everything. So this is my HTML. This is the header section, and within the body, I have created uh, I have created one text box uh, with the button called search. So here I have the search text box with this button, and here I have this mic as a image. So when I click on this image, I am getting my speaker is enabled. So during the speaker is enabled, and if I say something, so I will send my data to the Microsoft uh, Azure Azure services. So this is this site. This is the script, JavaScript based script that we have to use. Within this, I have to implement this initialization function to show or hide some area. So I have some area here. Uh, so if my browser is not supporting this web page or to the browser, then this warning will be enabled. So this is for that we have to write this initialization function. This is the main script that we have to work on. So here we will check what are the whether it will be supported by the Safari browser or not. So you can omit this code as well.
Surendra, can you increase the font size?
Yeah, sure. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, don't worry, I will provide this sample code onto Git, so you can download it and you can play with this single page application. From here, the actual code will start. So you have to specify your speech services related key. So don't copy it. I have changed it. You have to provide your language option in which language you want to fire this. You want to use this speech services. So right now I want to use it in the English language. I want my voice output, so that's why I keep the true. uh, you have to select the region when you are picking the Azure based services. So right now it's the West US. Formatting is the just simple, and my input is from the mic, but you can give the input from your audio file as well. So here you can specify that, okay, is it from the audio file or from the speaker or from the microphone. Once you will get your input source, you can specify you can create your speech subscription object, and you can specify this language, and here you can create the object for the recognizer, which actually send the your voice command and will get the data. So we have to check whether that the phrase or the word that we are specifying, is it blank or not. If it's not blank, then uh, we are going to continue. Uh, when you are trying to speak any word and you are sending it to the Azure services, so there are different hooks, or there are different callback that you have to set. So these are the this callback. So it start with the that's called session start. So whenever you will land on your page and click on the mic button, so this will be the first event that will be start, that okay, session is started, and at the last session will be stopped. In between these, you can if you are continue with the more than one word, then this event will be fire. If something will happen at the server end, then a cancel event will be fire, so you can trap it and you can write some logs, and or you can show related message onto your web page. And here if it will recognize if there is no match, then you will show something here. uh, if it detected something, or if it's I mean, if there are more than one word, then it will start the detected each word individually. So for each word it will detect it, and then that event will be ended. So these events will be run into the synchronized manner, but within the same scripts, it also support the uh, asynchronized behavior. So this is the most important, because here whatever the result we are getting, we will cache that result. We will check what kind of the output this switch have. So if this successfully this the voice that we that voice command that we have fired, if it's recognized, then get that word, and you can call your GraphQL query, or you can send that text to your API. So I have also checked it with the Solar Search, but the problem with the Solar Search is that though it work very perfectly, but I have to write a C sharp code, and I don't want to write that code. I want to omit that step. So if you want to implement the Solar, then of course you have to write a one controller and one action method, which will take this text as a input, and which will you fire it against to the your Solar server, and it will give you the data. You will convert into a JSON, and then it will show your JSON result here. But as I have used the GraphQL, so I don't need to write any controller or action method related code. So all those code will be removed, and I'm just sending my search text to the GraphQL query, and everything else will be done by that GraphQL. So the controller is already available. Your data will get into a JSON. So as Sitecore is natively supporting the GraphQL as a Sitecore GraphQL, so you don't need to implement any of these functionality. You can directly use that services. So once I get my result, once I send my data here, so then I'm calling my get result method, which is simply a one XML HTTP request, or you can write your jQuery as well. Here I'm just sending that okay, if it's all, then don't send. Then my search result will be then my search text will be blank. It means get all the result, or if there is any word, then I will pass that word to here. So this is my search query, where I'm specifying different fields that I need. So here I'm specifying full path. When I say full path, it means I have to specify the full path that I need to uh, that the, so this is the root item that make a part of my search. So all the items that are the child of this path, they against all those items this search method will work and give me the result. So it can be your employee or can be product or it can be your countries or the industries. So in whatever domain you are working or the website related with, so you can set one typical node and you can fire your query based on your keyword or based on your conditions. So you can specify more than one conditions here as well. So in the output I want these different data. I want the item id, its name, path, url, and these are some different other fields. So like I have the category, so I have the speaker, sales, or organizer. So let me show you. So I have the speaker or the organizer. So these are the different category. I have the name, I have the designation, and uh, some dummy text about their sessions that they have conducted into the Sugonku. So here is the output that I am showing you. So whatever the field that I am specifying here, so ID, it as a one-to-one correspond, I will get its value. Name, I got the name. I have path, URL. I have the category. So here I have the category. I have the title. So here I will get my title. So whatever the field that you have specified, you will get all those fields here. Interestingly, for the images, you can specify what kind of data you need. I want its value, alt, or source. So if you see, this is the image field, and you will get your individual items that you can find. So let's suppose you are working with some front end technology, and if you get this this value as a output, now you want the alt, then you have to write some uh, some logic to find out this alternate word. But if I get my alternate word as a separate property, so I can directly use it. I don't need to write a extra code for it. In the same way, for the link as well, you will get your whole link as a HTML. You can get its individual ID, URL text. So you can get the individual property of your HTML. So you just need to specify here and you are done. So you can write different kind of search. I mean, its syntax and format will remain changed. What will be changed? It you have to only change the this path. That's it. This path and whatever the fields you need, and you are done with your search implementation. So in typical or in our old way, we have to write a lots of code. We have to write the configuration or not configuration. We have to write our search manager class, and within that we are writing the logic for the pagination and for for getting the fields and the output for the different for the different part of our website. But here you don't need to do that. You just need to write this one query and you are done. You don't not need to write the pagination logic or the facets. Everything will be inbuilt into this search method. So let's move back to uh, our presentation. So I have provided you the code walkthrough which where I have show you that how I have created a single HTML page, and I have included all these technologies. So this is all I can say today. So this is the end of this session from my side. Thank you for your time. Wish you all a very happy weekend ahead. If you have any query or questions, then you can shoot now.
Thanks, Surendra. It was a really amazing session and the demo which you demonstrated here. So, we have a question from Ravi. So, what he's saying that he's using GraphQL for pulling the JSON data, and his template inherits the other base templates, right? So, whenever he's querying for some field on any item, so in the response, he's getting all the fields which are included in the standard fields. So, is there any way I can restrict the output fields in my JSON?
Yeah, of course. That's what I have show you. Like right now, I have specify here what are the different fields and what are the fields you need. You have to specify only those fields. So this is one of the another another benefit of JSON. Not JSON for the GraphQL. So within the GraphQL, it's providing the there are two concepts within the GraphQL. One is the called the over batching and under batching. So it means that uh, o- within the under, it means let's suppose you want the six fields as a output, but you are getting the three. So for rest of the three fields, you have to again make some request. So within the GraphQL, you don't need to do that. Overfetching is the another concept where you just need the you need the five fields, but you are getting the 10 fields. So if you are getting the 10 fields, it means you are getting the more data for all those fields. It will increase your bandwidth and will definitely will give you the trouble for the bandwidth. So that's why GraphQL is saying that specify the field that you need. So did you get
Yeah, I
the
hope
answer?
this answers his query.
Okay.
Yeah, and also we have a feedback from Arun and Saad regarding this session that this is something very new to look forward, and they're appreciating the session. So thanks, guys, for your valuable feedback. So if you have any queries, you can drop in the chat window. Otherwise, we can wrap up the now.
I think if guys have any question, they can connect with me offline if they don't have anything right now. Later on, I will publish this to Git and will share the link.
Sure, Suren. So I think we can wrap up the session now. Thanks again for your valuable time. I wish everyone a very happy weekend. Also, guys, we have a session at 6 p.m. on Sitecore User Group Chennai. So if you want, you can check their website and get the details about that session. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Surendra. Bye.
Thanks.